actually morning now. It's morning. And I'm here to tell you that when I started the reading the other day, it was the New Year's sneak peek. I started it reading about autoimmune diseases, right? And for some reason it did not click. I don't know why, but it didn't click that I have two, actually three, myself. I already said I'm pre-diabetic, so I'm not fully there, but that's one. And I'm also anemic. So I know why though, because I already had mentioned something just the other day. The muscle issue. So if you're having back pain in your like in your hip area, or kind of like in your oh well, that's not your back, but if you ever have pain in your hip or your groin, check your iliopsoas muscle group. Okay, so if you're having like specifically digestive issues, or like digestive issues or any lower back issues that you can't seem to resolve, check your iliopsoas muscle group. There's a particular that's funny because there's also another video that talks about how you sleep after narcissistic abuse, but there's a particular position most people sleep in after having been abused. It's kind of like a fetal position with your hands in a certain way. Okay. Excuse me. Well, besides sleeping like that, and then if you have been experiencing anxiety or anything like that and not being able to take full breaths, eventually it starts to tighten some of the muscles in this iliopsoas group. There's also another group over there, but I can't remember the name of it because what sticks to my mind is iliopsoas. All right. So you can't actually access the iliopsoas from your back. You access it from the front. Everything happens for a reason, right? Because I'd be at the gym. I haven't been there recently, but I was at the gym and I was having a really hard time doing a particular motion because of my back pain. And when I was talking about it, the lady next to me was like, yeah, I'm a massage therapist. I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's your psoas muscle. That's why you haven't fixed it in 3 years. That's why you keep going back to the chiropractor and nothing's happening. I didn't even finish my statement when I was talking about my back, but recent x-rays, I got another x-ray. That x-ray shows that everything is fine now. So my chiropractor is incredible. Okay, he's never even cracked my back once, really. Maybe in the middle, like right up in between my shoulders. Sometimes he'll press down and it'll crack, but he's literally never like twisted me up in a pretzel or anything like that. He does different methods and my back is straight right now, but I have to keep going back because it'll tilt again. So he told me it's your psoas muscle. But then when I was reading about it, all of these muscles in this particular group, once they start to tighten, that is when you get Granite, I think that is when you get um, the anterior tilt. But the problem is, this group, you can access it from the front. It's right over your digestive system. Okay, so when you're not breathing properly, like on a daily basis, and you're sleeping in a particular position, which is what she actually told me, and then confirmation came in when I'm scrolling and there's somebody like, why do you sleep like this after narcissistic abuse, right? When you have these two things happen, what happens is it starts to affect your digestive system and your absorption. So I'm right at the very beginning of this issue. I have prediabetes and I have anemia and a skin condition. Okay, this is happening because I'm not getting proper absorption as a result of the iliopsoas group and the other muscle group. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. I thought about it all day yesterday just to wake up and not be able to tell you, right? But anyways, when these two groups don't work, this is when you start to have, if you notice when I read that list off of um, autoimmune disorders, it seems like a lot of them have to do with your digestive system. It's because of this iliopsoas muscle group being tightened as a result of the anxiety and the inability to breathe deeply and the way that you sleep in order to protect yourself, right? So I just wanted to mention that, bring that up. I was reading the message, you know, I at the beginning of that reading for New Year's sneak peek, I was like, somebody needs to hear this. It was also me. I needed to hear that too. But the that's what's happening. Like a couple, you know, we're about 2 weeks from that now, and that is the information that trickled down uh, to me. So like I said, I'm about to start. Oh, really? I'm glad. You know, when you initially put your comment, it was 4:44 in the morning. Your first comment for this morning on my chat. So, you know, um, so I'm about to get physical therapy. I've already started that process of beginning that. So hopefully in the next 12 weeks, because that's all I'm allowed to get on my insurance, but that's enough because physical therapy isn't like the doctor. There's things that you can do on your own. So I'm sure that that's all I need. And when I get back in the gym, I should be feeling better. But yeah, this back pain's been going on for like 3 years. My back is actually fine. The bones in my back are fine. The bones in my hip are fine. Yeah, it's because of the absorption. Like if you also have like any lower back pain or anything like that, you know, a lot of the times, sometimes these things can be attributed to awakening, and I'm not saying that it's not um, completely, but and I'm sorry. Another issue was the groin, so I can't show you, but you know, right where my leg and my like where my the top of my thigh, you know, meets my pelvis, right there. I get like a sharp pain there sometimes. It's not all the time. It's more in my backside, like right in my lower hip. But these back pains can attribute to it, and it had to have been. Oh my gosh! It sounds. Have you been to the doctor for that? What is that? Have they said what they think it is? You know, it's funny that you said that because that's how sometimes I have a rash right now on my neck, right? But sometimes it scabs up. I can get it to go away um, briefly. Like they just gave me some medicine. It went away for like 2 weeks. As soon as I stopped taking the medicine, it that's not uncommon because I was about to say I got one person to prescribe something for it. Then I went and I asked another doctor to prescribe something and they rejected it. Um, but I would check your iliopsoas muscle group, or at least just at like, because these things start in the digestive system. Gosh, that's terrible. Do you have a primary? You should definitely look into um, like the more. Sorry, you got to find a primary. The more because when I have this particular rash, it does scab up sometimes, depending on where it is on my. I had one on my stomach. It scabs up. It's not like it. It looks fungal sometimes, and it is because they actually gave me an antifungal. It worked, but then like I said, it came right back. It's not an issue of like I used to think that it was an issue like, oh, I'm eating too much yeast, or like I need to eat less bread or something like that, right? But I actually don't eat like that. So it's still bothering me. It's because of the absorption issue. I'm certain of it. And it's coming from a muscle group being too tight. Then they were like, oh, you need to do, is this like a form of psoriasis possibly? Because psoriasis is on that list that I was reading off too. And I'm trying to think. I have a cousin that eczema was so bad. His eczema was so bad it did that too. My daughter, if you let her eczema go bad, it's like scaly. I would say try your best to find a primary physician, like a general practitioner. And that's what I'm trying to express too. On my neck, it's commonly on my. It's either on my. It gets to be on my neck, um, like right under my little fupa. Um, I have had it go right here, and it's scaly. It actually caused me to lose hair at one point. Um, I would try to find a primary physician. If the ER is not taking you seriously about it, try to find like a general practitioner and see if they can identify it. Or even if you have to use pictures, if you don't have a flare up right at that moment, sometimes they could still assist you. And I've also been taking bleach baths. Okay, you can look this up. You just take like maybe a fourth cup of bleach, put it in your water, and fill the water all the way up, like as high as it can go without, going back down the drain. That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, I would definitely try to find a primary, but in the meantime, like I take bleach baths and stuff to help, and it does help. Sometimes it doesn't. But what else? And I also just got hold of something called chlorhexidine, gluconate. Okay, and it's really funny because if you've ever seen like the hoof cutting trimming videos, like for horses or for cows, they use the chlorhexidine on the cows. Yeah, skin conditions can be a result of binding in the iliopsoas group. You know, this is just something I discovered. I'm not saying that that's specifically your issue, but in the beginning of that video, I had autoimmune disorders. There was several skin disorders on there, and if you go online and you type in, you know, the 90 autoimmune disorders, take a look at that because there's skin disorders on there and see if any of, I mean, like, I don't want you to self-diagnose. You should always go seek a doctor, but if you see one, like if it says dermatitis or anything like that, that's a skin disorder. Take a look and see if you can try to like narrow it down, you know what I'm saying? So, this is what I learned. The message was definitely for myself as well. Anemia, there's like 3 types of anemia that are on that list. Diabetes is on that list. And I'm pre-diabetic right now. I'm not all the way there yet. But it's a result of this iliopsoas group and having these muscles tighten. Yeah. Okay. I recently had a blood test done as well. Um, and it was weird because I had low red blood cells. And then I was freaked out for a hot second because, yes, I did have an elevation of white blood cells. And for a second, I was like, um, do I have HIV? You know what I'm saying? Because the way, the way that maybe you don't. But then, of course, it depletes itself as well because that's what's attacked. But I was like freaking out with the blood test, right? That was recent. And that's what, I have anemia right now. Um, and if it mentioned anything about your red blood cells, um, if your red blood cells were low, then that could be why it seems like your your white blood cell is getting high. You're trying to fight some type of infection. And like even autoimmune disorders can be infections as well. So definitely take a look at that. Um, thanks for showing up, Shaylee, and I hope you figure it out. Hope you find yourself a primary doctor. But definitely take a look at that list. See if there's anything that looks similar that can help you narrow it down. Because I'm one of those people, like, I noticed that my doctors don't take me seriously. I'm in a, I'm in like a, I've mentioned this before, but where I am in the city, it's not like there's no black people in the city at all, but the side of the city, give me a second and I will look it up and make sure I give you the correct, like the actual name of the list. But the side of the city I'm on is predominantly white folk, and I can only get to doctors that are in walking distance, or not necessarily. I can get a ride through my insurance, or the health department now offers free rides. But the when I first got them, those weren't options for me, so I tried to find doctors that were in walking distance. Well, all the doctors in walking distance are men. Not only are they men, they're white men, which is opposite my spectrum. So I have to be very specific and say, hey, I think that I have X, Y, and Z going on, or they won't check. And that's really annoying. Really annoying. Okay? So sometimes and it's not just being a black woman, it's being a woman in general. There's actually an article up on one of my phones where it talks about women being gaslighted in the medical field because the medical field was initially, you know, ran and created by men. I did a video a long time ago where the only doctors in the very earliest of times were men, and they prescribed more sex for hysteria. You know what I'm saying? And my belief is hysteria was coming from assault. So why would so you're gonna prescribe sex to for a woman who's assaulted? It's just, it's not funny. It's terribly sick, right? But the fact that the medical world is a man's world. More women are getting into it, but it's the only two women within a close distance. Their waiting list right now is almost 2 years out, because that's how many women there are. So I had no choice but to get to the men, because my issues were serious, and these men, I have a very specific, like the marks on my face. They're very specific to the skin condition I'm speaking on. I went to a dermatologist, and he did not give me anything for that, or suggest that I go to, like, it's like they just glance it over, and you know just go on about their day. So if you don't bring it up specifically, they're not going to do it. um I it's a it's like a specific fungal skin condition. But I forget what it's called, but it's like, to be honest with you, it's a very, like, once he said it, I was like, oh, okay, I get that. But it wasn't the dermatologist that told me, it was the primary. And I'm sorry, it wasn't even the primary. It was somebody at the urgent care. I ended up going to the urgent care because it was just bothering me so much on my neck. But these spots on my head are actually related to that too. It's not acne. It's like, it's some kind of papule, I believe. But why wouldn't it? It has a certain view under the lens, right? So when you look at it, there's no way that the dermatologist could have missed that. It's just being lazy at your job, or so the list, Shaylee, it's called the Global Autoimmune. Oh, excuse me, I said that totally wrong. Global Autoimmune Institute. And it's autoimmuneinstitute.org, but they have the autoimmune disease list and 90 autoimmune diseases. Now, the interesting thing about it is that I've made videos about, for instance, one of the videos is called, like, emotional incest and celebrities in the mainstream, or something like that. There's, like, people on that list that I've mentioned being in a in an emotionally incestuous relationship with their family, right? So one of those people is Bella Hadid. Bella Hadid has Lyme disease. Lyme disease is on the autoimmune disorders list, right? Now we know that Lyme disease can also be caused by tick bite, but the reason that I brought the autoimmune disorders up is because I had a video that kept showing up on my feed. I've never watched it, but it says that narcissistic abuse causes autoimmune disorders. So I brought up the autoimmune disorder list. And a lot of the things are unknown or unexplained, but there's like 3 or 4 that I've talked about, actresses, singers, models, people within the mainstream media that have some of these disorders. And I've already long before mentioned what their issue is. So another one is Celine Dion. I had mentioned that they believe it's an autoimmune disorder. They haven't done enough research on it, but what she has is on this autoimmune list. And I had mentioned the reason that she's having the degeneration within her brain path is because she was groomed by her husband. She loved him very much. She was very in love with him, but that was actually a form of abuse. And we'll never really know what their relationship was like. But again, these things start to wear, because it changes the the pathways in your brain. So if it's not supposed to connect that way and it's not supposed to do certain things, eventually it would cause deterioration because it's not getting the correct connections, right? So I can see some of them, I can see very clearly how those turn into autoimmune disorders, and myself personally, starting with anemia and just prediabetes, the iliopsoas muscle group is causing a lack of absorption, okay, because I'm sleeping in a particular way and I'm not breathing properly as a result of constant anxiety. Yes, yo, just meditate. I know I try. The I spoke on that already, but anyways, I hope y'all have a wonderful day.